cook. She got the recipe. She got what you need. That girl can cook. That black girl magic. I gotta have it.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And y'all, today I am going to teach you guys how to make my version of Southern buttermilk biscuits and sausage gravy. All right, so look, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and let's get started. All right, y'all, so look, we are going to start off with making our biscuits first. Make sure you preheat your oven because your oven has to be hot, okay? So I'm going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And to that, I'm going to add in a ½ teaspoon of sugar, which is optional. You don't have to add that in, but you do want to add in about a teaspoon of salt, as well as 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. Now remember, I'm using all-purpose flour. If you use self-rising flour, you do not have to use the baking powder, okay? But go ahead and mix that to combine it. And then we're going to add in our wet ingredients. So I'm adding in 1 stick of frozen salted butter. Now you guys know you can use shortening, you can use butter, you can use any type of fat you want, but I like to use butter in mine, so I'm gonna grate it in there. If you want to cube it up, you can. I find that grating works perfect when you do not have a pastry cutter. I'm using a fork, so I need to grate it, okay? So just press in the butter into the flour with your fork, with the back of the fork. Very simple process. And we're gonna add in about 3/4 to 1 cup of buttermilk. Now listen, you only want to add in a little bit at a time. I always start with a cup because sometimes, you know, the flour just be tripping. Even when I use the same recipe, I don't know what the deal is with that. But y'all, I'm using about 3/4 of this milk, okay? You can save the rest to put on top. But you don't want your dough to be too sticky, but you don't want it to be too dry, okay? So look, this is what you're going for here. Once you get that milk in, you want that consistency there. That's what I had left over. Once it starts sticking to your hand, you know that it's getting a little too sticky. So leave it like that, okay? Now, I actually doubled this recipe by making 2 separate dough balls because I wanted my biscuits to be kind of thick. So I'm going to combine these 2. It's the same ingredients, the same measurements that I just gave you. It's just 2 separate balls. I'm going to combine those 2, and I'm going to work this dough just a little bit. Now, as you can see, I'm not going to use a rolling pin. I just like to take my dough and press it into a circle. I fold it a couple of times just to give it some layers, and then I press it into a circle. And I am going to be using a biscuit cutter, but guess what? If you don't have a biscuit cutter, girl, go get you a cup. Okay, you don't need all that extra fancy stuff. You can get a ramekin, some type of circle that can cut it out, okay? But I bought this biscuit cutter from Target, so that's what I'm gonna be using. Now, when you do this, do not twist your cutter. Just press, okay? Push it down, press it, and then push your dough out and set it to the side. That's it, okay? If you twist it, you're gonna seal the edges and your dough is not gonna cook properly, okay? And also, you guys, remember, when you're dealing with this dough, you do not want to knead it. This is not pasta dough. This is biscuit dough. If you keep continuing to knead it and, you know, do too much work with it, y'all, you're gonna have a thick biscuit that can knock somebody out, okay? It's gonna be thick like a brick. Don't do it, okay? You want it to be nice and fluffy. So the less work, the better the biscuit, all right? So I'm just taking my leftover dough, forming it back into a circle. And you guys, like I said, I combined 2 different doughs. Well, they're the same, but 2 sets of doughs because I wanted a thick biscuit. You can use the measurements that I gave you to make smaller biscuits, and that's perfectly fine. But I like big, chunky, thick biscuits. That's what I like. I like the jumbo biscuits. When I go in the store and buy biscuits, I get the jumbo because that's what I like. Okay, so you don't have to double the recipe, but if you want bigger biscuits or you want more biscuits, you can do that, okay? As you can see, the last biscuit right here, I'm just forming that into a circle. There's no need to cut it because I want to use all of my dough. I don't want any leftover dough, okay? Just form it into a circle. It's going to look a little lopsided, but that's okay, all right? And you should get 8 biscuits out of this recipe, okay? So look, there are our biscuits. Look, y'all, they look so perfect. If you don't want to cook them now, you can freeze them and cook them later, okay? But I have my cast iron skillet here. You can use any baking dish of your choice, okay? But y'all know I am the queen of cast iron, so that's what I'm gonna be using. Now, butter your dish down. If you wanna use some type of nonstick spray, you can. And go ahead and add in your biscuits. I don't like to let them touch because they're gonna expand as they cook. but try to give them just a little bit of room. If they're snug in there, that's okay, but it's gonna change the shape of your biscuit. So if you want it to have a nice round shape, you know, leave a little bit of space, or you can cook them like on a cookie sheet or whatnot. And here I'm just adding just a little bit of buttermilk to the top for some additional moisture. We're going to be adding some butter later, okay? And now we're going to bake this at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 18 minutes, give or take, you guys, okay? Depending on your oven, it may take longer, it may take less. Just make sure you watch them bad boys, all right? So look, here they are. They're almost done. I'm adding a little bit of butter to the top, and I'm going to continue baking. That was about at the 10-minute mark. And you guys, look, after about 18 minutes for this set of biscuits in my oven, this is how they turn out. Perfect every single time. You guys, make sure you watch those biscuits, okay? These are not Pillsbury dough biscuits. These are homemade, okay? You got to watch them. And I did broil the top to give it a little bit of brown. But be very, very careful. But anyway, moving on to our sausage gravy. You're going to be over medium heat, and we're going to add in a pound of breakfast sausage to a hot skillet. And you guys, I'm adding a little bit of butter there because I hate to tell you, but I'm using turkey sausage. But guess what? You can use turkey sausage in this recipe. It is okay. It's traditionally done with pork, but I'm using turkey today because I'm trying to make better choices. Anyway, and I'm just seasoning it up just a little bit because turkey sausage be bland, y'all. I use seasoned salt, black pepper, and chili pepper. And I'm assuming that you guys are gonna use pork, so I didn't add that. But if you would like to see what I put in there specifically, check the description box, okay? Now look, turkey sausage got a little fat too now, and once all of that liquid has reduced out of there and there's nothing but fat left, you want to go ahead and remove that sausage and add in 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, with the butter, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And this is going to begin the roux for our gravy, you guys. And y'all, when I tell you it's going to be smelling so doggone good right about now, honey, child, please. Anyway, mix up that butter and that flour really well. Make sure it's cooked. And we're going to add in 2 cups of whole milk gradually. Do not pour the whole thing over in there and be mad with me later on talking about your gravy didn't turn out right. Now you see it right here. Add in 2 cups of whole milk gradually, a little bit at a time. In the beginning, it's going to look very chunky, and that's what you want. And you're going to smooth it out with that milk as you gradually add it in. But make sure you reduce your heat to low earlier like I asked, because you will burn this if you don't, okay? So that gravy is turning right before your eyes right now. You are a magical chef. You don't have to use the packet Pioneer gravy. You are off the chain right now. Do y'all hear me? Look at that. It's like liquid cream. I'm telling you. You know, a lot of times people be messing up the gravy because it's either too thick or too loose or something wrong with it, or it tastes like flour. Not today, honey. We're going to get this thing together. Now, I am going to season it up with a little bit of onion powder. I'm using a ½ teaspoon. You can go up to a teaspoon if you prefer. I'm also going to use a ½ teaspoon of garlic powder since I didn't add in onions or garlic. I'm also going to add in a ½ teaspoon of black pepper. Nope, that's a whole teaspoon of black pepper. I'm tripping. And then we're going to season this with salt to taste. You guys, it's so much flavor in this that you don't have to add too much to make it all that, because it's already all that. But you do need to add a little salt, okay? Do not forget the salt. And whisk that to combine it, y'all, and that's it. Add your cooked sausage back in. It's okay if the drippings get in there, honey. That's okay. That's just more flavor. You can't even tell that's turkey sausage. I'm telling you, it's so good. Add your sausage back in. Mix it up. And y'all, look at that creamy gravy. It's not too loose. It's not too thick. It is perfect. Now, y'all know what time it is. Let's plate it up. We thank you on today. Y'all, here we have our delicious homemade biscuits and sausage gravy, all done from scratch. made with love and honey. When I tell you, it didn't stand a chance. It did not stand a chance in my house, okay? But look, if you try this recipe, I need y'all to let me know down in the comments and let me know how delicious it was and how easy it was to make, you guys. And I want to thank y'all for watching as always. Thank you for tuning into my channel. And like I said, if you try it out, let me know. And I'll see y'all next time in the next video.